So I'm also going to do a little walk around on the Jeep. I've had people comment, they want to know what all mods I got done. So we're just going to kind of go over some of that. Just going to be a nice kind of relaxing day at Chocolaca Mountain. It's one of my favorite off-road parks here in Alabama, or basically the South. All right, so everybody kind of has asked me in my videos, hey, what all kind of mods do you have done, you know? And so I've never done a good walk around video of what all I've done. You know, I worked at JK Land for a while, and you know, at that time my Jeep was on 37s. Basically had the same suspension, but I got in an accident and ripped the front axle from up under my Jeep. Had somebody pull out in front of me. You know, it was a very unfortunate event. Kind of put my Jeep down for a good long time. You know, but whenever I rebuild it, you know, just like with everything, you want to rebuild it better, stronger. So the Dana 44s came out, you know, and that's pretty much the first obvious mod I have done to my Jeep. Is I have a set of Dana Ultimate 60s under there, front and rear. Running 538 gears in there. They're, you know, so they have the Eaton E-lockers in it. You know, there is a, you know, great, good, strong axle. You know, I kind of always like not having to worry about being broken on the trail. So let's go and talk about some of the other stuff on my Jeep here. So we're looking at my Jeep. So first off, I mean, on the exterior stuff, you know, always like, you know, everything I do, I like to have as for function. So let's start with the fender flares. A lot of people, you know, they like to take their factory plastic fenders off. Some of them, they do fender deletes, which is cool, provides a lot of clearance. You know, but I also like, you know, good metal fenders. I have, these are Poison Spider metal fenders. They come in aluminum as well. You know, there are other brands that are, you know, just as good or better, you know, out there. Poison Spider makes good products. As you can see, I also have Poison Spider skins on the back quarters. But what's good about having good metal fenders, a good quality fender, is when you're on the trail and if you're wheeling really hard, you get into a tree. You know, I've had these metal fenders kind of save the top, a lot of body damage everywhere, you know, because I mean, I could stand on these. I mean, I've bounced them off of rocks. You know, they take a good amount of abuse. Jeep prior to this, in my earlier videos, I had you know, whenever I went to Moab, I had a set of metal cloak metal fenders on that Jeep, and I mean, they were amazing. They look good, and I put them to the test when I went to Moab. I mean, I laid my Jeep on the side doing the escalator. If you go and look at that video, you'll see the segment in there. I mean, you can just hear the grinding of the Jeep on the side of the wall on the escalator while I got myself back straight. You know, I just feared for the worst. Whenever I got out of the Jeep, I thought it was going to be, you know, major damage, you know, quarter panel pushed in, and it was just a little bit of exterior scrub. Got back home, sanded the fender down a little bit, didn't even take it off, and got just a Rust-Oleum textured black. Kind of touched it up with some spray paint, and you know, they look good as new. You know, so that's the first one. Then you go in, you can look at rock sliders. A lot of people, you know, there's, I mean, hundreds of different rock sliders out there. Rock sliders are, you know, they're not a step, they're a rock slider. They're going to protect your rocker panels from rocks. You know, especially if you wheel your Jeep hard, or especially on the rocks. You know, you want a good quality frame mounted rock slider. These are made by a company called VKS. You know, I don't know if you can see their logo cut in, but as you can see, I mean, mine has taken some, you know, some abuse. I mean, they've also, just like the fenders, they've saved, you know, thousands of dollars of body repair, you know, and that's what they are. They're rock sliders. They're going to slide. Go around to the front of the Jeep. You know, there's also, just like the rock sliders and fenders, there's hundreds of brands of front bumpers. This front bumper is the Pritchett Canyon Frame Chop. It's made by a company called Barnes 4x4. These are custom built bumpers by Barnes. It is a very nice, sturdy bumper. I like, you know, it's kind of almost unique because you don't really, I've yet to go wheeling with another Jeep that had the same bumper on it. The beauty of this bumper is that it cuts my frame back 4 inches. So my frame stops right in front of this bolt here. so I have a better approach angle. It's kind of, you don't have that bumper hanging out way front. Part of cutting the bumper back though is I lost the function of my my electric sway bar, front sway bar, which we put a factory sway bar on, and we'll talk about the sway bar again in a minute. But it pushes the bumper back, so I have a worn Xeon 10S on there. I had to do a coil pack relocation, so my coil packs from my winch is up under my hood. As you see, we had to notch out the grill a little bit, push it back. Also, I'm running, like I said, the Xeon 10S has a synthetic cable. I'm running a factor 55 flat link in the front. Works great. I have a couple of amp off-road micro LEDs in there. Again, as you can see, you got your D shackles, and it is a good sturdy bumper. As you can see, I've banged it off of rocks, all kind of stuff. Kind of move to the back, talk about everything on the front. So on the back of my Jeep, I have so there's also a VKS frame chop. No, sorry, it is a JRC rear bumper. I'm sorry about that. But as you can see, they have their JRC. I think that, yeah, anyway, frame chop rear bumper on there. It's a good sturdy bumper. Kind of helps with my departure angle. It has integrated, it has a tow hitch in the back. Works good, does what a rear bumper should do. Now, tire carrier, you see people put big tires on their Jeep, and it's a debate on, do I carry a spare tire or not? I'd rather go somewhere and get up on the trail, and if I cut a tire, I don't want to have to go and worry about running back down to the camp and getting a tire. Or if I don't have a tire, find it, trying to repair a tire. So I like to have a spare tire with me when I go. So I'm running a moto-built tire carrier. It's got the license plate relocation. I have my backup camera on there. Works good, does what it's supposed to. So, so that's pretty much, I think, all of the exterior features of my Jeep. As you've noticed, I'm not running inner fenders. Some people like them. I guess I don't do a lot of mudding. I don't play in the mud a lot, so I have, so I don't have to worry about getting mud all up in there. And the last thing on the front I didn't cover is I have a couple of pod lights on the front. They're made by they're JG lighting. They're good, cheap lights. They have lifetime warranty. Moto-built A-pillar mounts. Another light I forgot to mention is the Baja Designs light up in the front. So on a moto-built fair lead bracket, that's a good bright light. Can't go wrong with that. All right, so we're gonna move into in a minute. We're gonna go over to the RTI ramp. That way I'll flex it out, and I'll get a better you'll get a better view of the underbelly of the Jeep and what all's what all is going on functionality or mechanically inside there. So I'll see you in a second. All right, so here we are. We're over here at the Chocolaca Mountain RTI ramp. It's a good wide ramp. As you can see, plenty of time. You don't have to worry about slipping off or whatnot. It's a good tall good ramp. Kind of good place if you're going. You can check out if you got anything rubbing on your suspension, or just kind of to show off on flex. So we did talk about, said I had to take the electric Rubicon sway bar out. So it's a factory sway bar. And one of the cooler things I have on my Jeep are the Apex Designs auto links. As you can see, it's a sway bar link. A lot of people look at it and think it's a shock. But basically, I take this blue knob and I twist it. And you can see whenever it turns red, when you see the red thing, and it's only a quarter twist. So there, turns loose, and that disconnects the sway bar. So let's go to the other side. And we take it, and we're going to twist it. As you can see, now the sway bar is completely loose. So it's going to allow the Jeep to do its fully flexing. Other thing we're going to do, because running Dana 60s, you have to get out and manually do your hubs. So make sure you come in full turn on the worn hubs on there. As you can see, lock them in there. I didn't cover the wheels that I have on my Jeep, so I'm running a Method Beadlock. You can see their Method. They are the 106s. They're in bronze. You can see I got scuffs on the rock rings on there. So I mean, they're a good beadlock, good lightweight. I think the bronze goes good with the green Jeep. So I'm going to set the camera up here, and I'm going to start the Jeep up, and we're going to do a little bit of a flex. Alrighty, so I'm not really sure if I'm maxed out or not. I don't have anybody back there kind of going over and telling me if I picked up the back tire or not, but it didn't felt like it got a little tippy on there. As you can see, she's quite flexy. No, just looking at the rear, I don't think I'm pushed up to my max. We're just gonna do a quick walk around here and kind of look, you know. Yeah, it's just like every other Jeep shot, but you know, just from experience, I think I got about another inch I could go up in the front. All right, so you know, we're gonna start up at the front. You know, as we were talking about earlier, we're talking about the Apex Design auto links. As you can see there, I mean, they are fully extended out. These are the 10.5-inch travel auto links. Mine are set at about 10 inches. About 9.5, 10 inches, don't recall. So first off, I mean, suspension is a rock crawler X Factor. See, you know, rock crawler X Factor on there. The control arms, I mean, they work really good. You know, it's quite flexy. Running Fox 2.0 with the remote resi shocks down there. Now, what is unique on mine is my shock mounts on the front and rear are raised, so I do not have the same amount of up travel as a lot of other Jeeps. But you know, as you can see, I mean, they are bumped out. You can see that shock is fully compressed. It goes from there, you know, kind of moving up front to the steering, running Steer Smart's you know, Yeti XD aluminum tie rod, and also the XD Steer Smart's Yeti drag link PSE steering with a American 4x4 garage clamp. I think that's who makes it. I'm sorry if I kind of missed your name. Or, you know, also running a Yeti XD track bar in the front, you know, and you can see the beefiness of the Dana Ultimate 60. Look in there, running Adams drive shafts. Those are 1350s. As you can see, I have Artec skids. You know, overall, so you know, I built a good beefy Jeep. You know, I don't like breaking stuff on the trail. You know, come on this side back here. You see back here in the rear, I also have a Yeti track bar in the back. Use, you know, rock crawler Swaybar links on the rear. Synergy bump stop extensions, and you can see also where we did raise the rear shock mounts up. You know, I can see that shock over there actually has about another inch of up travel. So I'm not completely maxed, but I am sitting on my bump stop. You know, we set the bump stops that way on purpose. That way we could, you know, make sure we, you know, prolong the life of the shocks. You know, on this angle, you get a better view of the Artec aluminum skid plates under there. It's also a Adams rear drive shaft as well. Exhaust is a little bit louder than I want it. I'm just running a short Flowmaster HP2 muffler with a turn down. You can see all the scrapes and bruises that these skid plates have saved. Skid plates should be the #1 modification on almost every Jeep. A lot of vulnerable parts are up under your Jeep. transmission skid plate. Our transmission's back here, but engine skid plate up there. Part of the transmission is in the center there. I was wrong. But I've banged off of rocks. I've come down on rocks. I've also seen Jeeps that didn't have skid plates and busted oil pans, transmission pans. Just a bunch of bad stuff goes on. All right, so I'm gonna back off the ramp over here. So we're gonna set her down. Back down off the ramp. All right, so we just got done flexing the Jeep out, going over what all modifications are on the back. Let's kind of talk about the fronts for a little, what's inside the interior. You know, so the factory cage, Jeep roll cage, you know, it works, it's sufficient. They make sport cages and stuff that connect to your factory cage, but as you can see, mine factory cage has been completely cut out. This is a Poison Spider welding cage. It's all the way front, goes all the way to the back. You see back there. For seats, I'm running Mastercraft Baja RS seats, 4-point harnesses in there. You got a Alpine 409 radio. I'm running I can't remember the name of the brand, but it's a scan gauge. Kind of goes over, shows me a bunch of different things on the Jeep, what's going on as far as, you know, engine temperature, all your parameters of the Jeep. You know, you can also clear codes and set tire size and all, axle ratio and whatnot. In there, let's see what else we got here. Running Armorlight flooring. You know, it good, takes the, you don't have to worry about it. It's a good outdoor. It can get wet, you just come in, hose it down, clean it up. There's a drain plug right here, I pop it out and I can just flow the water out. I did have a CB, don't run a CB anymore. I use the Bofing UV 5Rs. They're good radios, but you got to have a FCC amateur license to operate it because it runs on different channels. I'm not a CB expert, so you know, don't quote me on any of that stuff. Also, I like to know my angles, so I'm running a level gauge here. I have one on this side over here. Running got a S-Pod Switch Pro. It's the old style. You know, still analog switches. The box is up under the hood. Running my e-lockers off the front e-locker, rear e-locker, my lights, light bar and whatnot on the front. Spider shade for whenever I take my top off. Another really kind of cool little thing in the Jeep is, I say iDrive, it's called the Ultimate 9 now. Basically it changes the sensitivity of your throttle. It kind of connects pretty quick. I installed this in about 15 minutes. They're fairly cheap, you know, so, you know, and after installing it, you know, you put it on stock or you disconnect it, you do notice a big difference. I haven't noticed any difference in fuel economy because I usually don't run it on the economy side, but you have 2 different modes, you know, on there. You can kind of make your throttle more sensitive, so you have, you know, you can, you know, if you need an instant kind of throttle punch whenever you go and push it, you just kind of turn it up. I usually ride mine around on the what they call the ultimate settings, which is, you know, goes from 0 to 9, you know, hence the Ultimate 9. And it, you know, it's a good compact unit. Sit there, you can adjust it on the fly. I run mine when I'm on the street around U3, U4. I kind of I don't like overly sensitive because then it makes it kind of jerky. Just like whenever I'm off-roading, I mean, you're in 4 low. I don't like the ultimate, you know, setting, so I go to the economy setting. I usually go to the economy setting for like maybe a 2. And that way it kind of makes it easier. But if you're on an obstacle where you need to do a good little bump and you need that quick throttle response, then I'll bump it up into the higher ultimate settings, you know, 6-ish, and very rarely I'll go up to 9, but it just depends on how much of a hit you need whenever you first hit that gas. So, but the Ultimate 9 throttle, that's you know, that's pretty good. Another thing, you know, kind of didn't go over is I'm running a dual air compressor, ARB dual air compressor. You know, so you air your tires down. You want to be able to air up in the afternoon after your ride. So I have mine, or mount it. Have my compressor mounted up under the hood. See, I have this is my S-Pod, and I have my ARB twin air compressor. Also running a Ultima battery. And there's the reservoir for the PSC steering. You see also Poison Spider hood vents on the front to kind of help with, you know, under hood temperatures. You know, and that's pretty much about everything on my Jeep. You know, kind of didn't go over the back and kind of what kind of things you carry with you when you go off-roading, or, you know, everybody has a different little recipe on what they carry. You know, so this is the back of my Jeep. It's not as tidy as I usually keep it. The tarp is usually neater. I let my daughter borrow it to go camping. But just back here, you see I have pretty much all my essentials. Everybody should carry a fire extinguisher with them. You know that's pretty crucial. You know, you don't want to, you know, fires happen on the trail all the time. You want to be able to, you know, quick response, because you're not getting the fire department up on the trail. So you need to be able to extinguish that fire, you know, prevent a full loss, because once you get a vehicle completely burned on the trail, it's really hard to get it off the trail. So back here, you can see part of the Poison Spider cage. Cut the factory cage out, and you see it back here. I have high lift jack. I've had that high lift jack for like 20 years. It's saved me so many times. Everybody, any four-wheel drive should have a high lift jack, and they should also learn how to use that high lift jack, because they will hurt you if you're not careful. I'm not going to go into all that. Keep my jumper cables. I have my air hose for my compressor, shovel. Got all my tools in my bags. Basically all my my ratchets and sockets are all back here, and I tried to match up sockets for if I have to do trail repairs. I know what's in there for my particular Jeep. I don't have every single tool in the world, but I do have all my wrenches, standard and metric, are in here. 90% of the bolts on a Jeep is metric, so you want to keep that. Four-way lug wrench, just because they're easier to work. You know, recovery gear, different shackles, snatch block under here, snatch rope under the tarp, just in the little divot. And this area always gets bounced out. But I have my recovery rope. I keep some extra steering lines for the PSC, because if you bust a line on that PSC, you're not steering anywhere unless you can cap it off or repair it. Tire repair kit, ratchet straps, big heavy duty ratchet straps, not those little bitty ones. I've driven about 80 miles with no rear track bar using these two ratchet straps, crisscrossed from the frame to the axle to center it, and, you know, it got me home. So, you know, whatever you do, you know, to kind of prepare for the unknown on what you don't know what's going to happen. You know, tarp, everybody should keep a tarp in their Jeep or any four-wheel drive. You have to get up on your Jeep and it's a rainy, dirty, muddy trail. You don't want to lay on the mud. You know, put a tarp under it. They roll up pretty quick. Tree savers, you know, because you always want to winch off a tree saver. You don't want to, you know, put a winch cable, whether or not synthetic or steel, around a tree. It will kill a tree. That's pretty much everything I have back here. Pretty much it there. But that's my Jeep and everything that's on it. I'm sure I probably talked a lot longer than I probably should have on it. I know Moab is ready to hit the trail. He's running around for a little bit while I was talking earlier. You know, I know he's ready to get on the trail just like I am. We're just going to do nice little easy trails, nothing hard. You know, again, like I'm out here by myself. I mean, there's another group of crawlers out here. I mean, I say there's a Toyota Truggy running around. There's a couple of side-by-sides. It look like a CJ. They're all riding together. I can hear them up on the harder things. I'm just gonna do some easy stuff. We might see and we might not. I'm not gonna do anything crazy hard. I'll try and talk through some of the trails instead of just doing a point of view like 90% of my videos are, and we'll go from there. Thanks for listening.